evening to you all, and welcome back to our virtual Dominion Energy Jazz Café. You hear Lucy playing that piano. We haven't had her here in a few weeks, and I have missed her dearly. I'm so glad you're back with us, Lucy Kilpatrick. Tonight, we've got another evening of solid music for you. It's gonna be a good night for you to get up and dance a little bit, sit down and have a glass of wine, but without any more interruption from me, Cloud 9 Band.
And VMFA family. That was an original tune by Miss Lucy Kilpatrick on her 2015 CD, Intermission, and that's called And So It Goes. So before we get started, first of all, thanks to Richmond Jazz Society and Virginia Museum of Fine Arts for having us back. It's been a while since we've been here. But I'll say the same thing that I do when we are over in the cafe. I like to get it all out the way up front so we can just have fun and play some good music for you. So to my left, your right is Mr. Brian Johnson on drums. On bass, we have Mr. Juan Nelson. And I think everybody in town knows Miss Lucy Kilpatrick, and my name is Keith Anderson. This is the Cloud9 Band. Next tune is a tune that is one of my favorite. I play it every time I get a chance to. It's by Miss Anita Baker. It's called Sweet Love. So after you play some good music, have some good wine, you go home, and then I think you feel like making love. So Miss Roberta Flax, Feel Like Making Love, Cloud 9 version. we'd like to go back to intermission from Miss Lucy Kilpatrick, and see, this one is called Everyday People Express Themselves, correct? I'm sorry. Everyday People Express Themselves. Original by Lucy Kilpatrick. Before we take a quick intermission, we're going to play one more tune. It's actually another one of my favorites. It's by Miss Alicia Keys, and it's called If I Ain't Got You.
I'll tell you what, somebody needs to call Alicia and tell her we found her new teacher. She needs to get some lessons from this lady back. Lucy, I love it when you're here. Thank you so much. Gosh. That's Alicia's doing just fine. That's right. Her bank account is doing just fine. Wow, have I enjoyed this first half, but I've got some questions to ask. Interview?
Absolutely.
Right over here. Cloud9 Band, thank you all for sitting down and teaching me a little bit more about yourselves and the folks at home as well before we get to that second set of music. Before we get into it, would each of you tell us a little bit about yourselves in your own words?
I've been playing bass since I was about 13. Well, I've been attempting to play bass since I was 13. I'm still learning. Come from a musical family. I was around music, so naturally I gravitated towards it. Just glad that I'm able to still hear and be able to play.
We are too.
I started playing saxophone when I was 8 years old, so I've been playing for over 45 years. Much like Juan, I came from a musical family, brought up through Richmond Public School system, and I've been playing on stage since I was 12, so over 43 years on stage.
Wow.
That's actually over 45. I started when I was 10. First record in 1976, I believe, with Larry Bland right down the street.
You're on the record?
Yes.
At 10 years old?
At 10 years old, my brothers and I were his first horn section, Larry Bland.
Come on.
Yep.
That's incredible. Lucy, you've been on this camera many times, but never in the chair.
Yes.
True, I usually run away by this time.
Tell the folks at home who you are. They know, but go and tell them.
Okay. Well, I'm Lucy Kilpatrick, and I have been playing, I don't know when I was not playing. I've been playing piano, goodness, ever since I could reach one. I imitate whatever my brother or my mother was playing and just pick it up, and eventually I went to school for it, and I've never stopped playing.
Absolutely leading the scene right now, as far as I'm concerned. How's Charlie?
Oh, he's doing great.
Good.
Yeah.
He's been on this stage too, but not as frequently as you have. Drummer.
Somebody's got to watch the dogs.
Yeah, somebody's got to. Mr. Drums.
Yes, I'm Brian Johnson, and just like these guys, but I'm the young one. I
Yeah.
ain't been as long as they have, but I've been playing drums basically, actually with a band and stuff in church since 3, but I've been beating on pots and pans since I can grab some sticks and stuff. And it's just been a venture for me, and like I said, starting in the church, that all my family just about either they preaching or they doing some music or they playing the tambourine, they singing or something, so it's in my blood. So I just thank God for that, and that I'm able to keep on doing it. So.
I'm in good company tonight. I know that, I always knew that, but I'm just like y'all. Been doing it my whole life, but now I get to learn how other people got here. Normally I would ask what brought you to music, but you just told us, each one of you, it's in your blood, it's in your family. They brought you here. Thinking about that, your past, your family, what are some of the great memories you have from childhood, watching those who inspired you to become who you are today?
Me personally, like I said, growing up in the church, I got to see my grandma play the piano, my father play the organ, my uncles, and they all self-taught themselves. So all of my family, that's how we all learned first, but then we all, eventually some of us went to school and did it, grade school, went further into college and stuff. But yeah, getting to see and, your older ones in your family playing these instruments, and then you growing up and, as a drummer, I got to sit on the lap and while, and play the last song of the church. Let the church say, amen, that's all I got to play at 3. But I was happy, couldn't wait, but that's what it was.
You got that amen at the end, that's all
right,
you need.
that's right.
Song better get an amen. Lucy, what about you growing up with the piano? What are the share one great memory of what
Oh
brought
my
you here?
goodness, I remember, I'd listen to my mother play, as I said, and I just remember like taking whatever, like she played classical music, and whatever classical piece she would do, I would try and pick it up and wish that she would slow it down so I could get every note. And, I was a real piano nerd way back, but that's my earliest memory.
So I can't say that this is the earliest memory. It's probably one of the funniest, though. I have two older brothers who are also musicians, even to this day, and a younger sister who actually sings with Cloud9 when we with the full band. But when we were kids, my mom and my mom was the music person in our family. She sang at Virginia State prior to us sort of picking up instruments. But she used to keep us in the house, and we would learn to harmonize. And we could not go outside until we finished a song, and the kids used to sort of tease us about it until we got really good, and then we would sing and look out the window, and all the kids that were waiting for us to play are out there listening to us harmonize. So that was really cool. So
May as well be the Jacksons.
That's what I was thinking about.
that's why I giggled, because that's what it reminded me of the first time I saw the Jacksons.
Sing, that was better sing.
Before you go outside. That's right.
I like that. Mom knew she knew you had something in you. She was going to pull it out of you.
Yes.
Well done, Mom.
Well, my mother was a singer. She sung with Rosetta Tharpe and the Rosettes. My cousin Desiree, her mother also was in the Rosettes. She was a background singer. But I guess my influence was Desiree's father, Jimmy. He was the pianist over at the Abbey, and I was too young to go to places that served alcohol, and that's what they did there. And I never got a chance to hear him there. I could hear him play, family functions at the house and whatnot, but it was strong. My father's a jazz trombonist in the Air Force Band, so it was kind of in the blood. So
A lot of great
I couldn't
memories.
escape it.
Those of you at home, he's talking about his cousin Desiree. That's Desiree Roots. Go back in this series, episode 7, all about Desiree.
That's my cousin.
There you go. She tells some good stories about growing up with her father as a musician. Check that out.
Yeah.
Education is one of the central themes of this program. We've learned a lot about the great educators in Richmond and growing up and going through the Richmond public school system. Tell me about some of your teachers and some of those moments. Talking to Keith, of course.
So, Nelson Lawson, Dick Martin, Jasper. I'll tell you, during our generation, music was so important. And, as I think about the existence of that in Richmond public schools today, it gives me a little bit of concern, because if you we were talking before, we started to hear about some of the phenomenal musicians that have come out of this area, and really within blocks of BMFA. And I just would love to see that come back to the Richmond area. But Nelson Lawson, a phenomenal French horn player. He's still playing today. But he pulled me up from Thompson Middle School into Huguenot Band when I was still in the 7th grade.
Right. All right.
So, and we fared well. They were just phenomenal instructors. And
Marie
still
Goodman.
Yes.
Yes.
That was my,
Yes.
yeah, Miss Hunter, that was my baby.
Goodman.
Oh my God. I would be in the classroom, she'd give a test, and I was usually the first one finished. So not to bother with anybody in the classroom, she would let me go in the auxiliary room and I would get on the piano. And that's where I learned to kind of play piano a little bit.
Right.
And I did that every day, but yeah, just having great teachers that would encourage you.
Daphne Waring, Mr. Newton. I forget Mr. Newton's first name, but
Mr. Newton.
Yes, trombone player.
A great educator, I think, makes all the difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
I had great teachers and I read the right books, and that put me on this stage, but could have been anyone else. If they had, I don't know, maybe a different educator. Who knows? I don't know their story.
Right.
As you're developing, Lucy, and you begin to study piano, what is it that you were studying at that time, and how did you develop this, I don't want to say strange, but unique technique I see that comes out of you?
I didn't even know I did anything different until I saw footage, and I was like, what am I doing? So I apologize to my piano teacher. I know you didn't teach me that way. I don't know. I think maybe because I think I back off of keys really fast. I honestly, maybe I just want to make sure that if I play something wrong, you didn't see it or something. I don't know.
Oh boy.
That is not the guy. I've never heard you strike a wrong.
Never.
Oh, wow.
Never.
Not one.
You are so kind.
I'll just be honest. My first instrument, little square wooden drum pad. My mother bought me when I was in kindergarten, pair of sticks, and I was a little drummer boy. I was 4 or 5 years old, and I kept those sticks and I played the drums for a long time. I gave it up because you got to carry them in wherever you go.
Yes.
What has your journey as a drummer been like?
It was fun, but like you was mentioning that when I was in middle school, I wanted to play the saxophone because, like you said, those drums at the end of the gig, I can't stand that part. That's the worst part of the job. And saxophone, I just like, you know, I grew up watching Kenny G, and I would see Kenny G go in the crowd and, you know, play to the women and stuff. And it was like, drummers in my time, it was the Muppet Babies, animals. So he just beat on the drums, you know, like he crazy and stuff. So I wanted to be the cool guy with the saxophone. But my older brother, unfortunately, he played the trombone and only did it for 3 years. And my father said, look, you've been beating on my pots, pans, the sofas, you done messed up a couple of cushions in my house. I'm gonna get you a snare drum, but that's what you gonna play. And I had no choice, that's what I had to play.
I mean, the rhythm that comes out of you is something else.
Thanks,
But before you started, I've never seen a drummer mid-song change his cymbal out. I thought this man's got as much fun as he wants to have.
Because I'm never satisfied with my sound. And back to the packing at the end of the day, I have a lot of stuff, but when I go to play, I try to bring as least as possible so I don't have to pack it up. So that's why I keep swapping cymbals throughout songs and stuff. Because I'm like, I don't like that, it don't sound good on that one. But I'm too lazy at the end of the day to bring all my equipment out like that. So.
Hey, I was so impressed. I was watching you. How is it okay? Oh, keep playing while you switch it out.
Yeah,
That's
and
still
see,
out.
if the drummers got paid the most money or more money, I can hire me a roadie.
Get all of y'all need to get a roadie.
Yeah,
amen.
yes.
There's 4 of you sitting in front of me. We've got a man who stood in front with his horns, but who is leading tonight? Mr. Anderson. Oh, he says all.
We all say
So-
it's him. We're gonna point to him as our leader, but
But-
we all have input in it.
Yes.
Right, the whole situation.
So as I did give the band the name,
Yes.
but it was because of the fact that when I first started with this group, and it started out as LKB Trio, the 3 of us. Then we brought in Juan because Juan and Brian and I were working on another project. But as a musician, you know that one of the things that you deal with are egos. And we've been together over, 14, 15 years. When I first started to perform with them, the vibe that we got and just the feeling of family was so natural. I said, this is like being on cloud 9. And that translated also into the interpretation of the music. And even to this day, when we perform, we feel each other. You know, we've been through 2020 COVID, and we've only been together one time. But we feel each other, and I think that is because of how genuine they are and how we are truly family, which is why I said there's no leader. I have folks that call me for the gigs, but we are all equal in this group. So.
I can agree that I witnessed that tonight. Clearly there's a front man who was leading, making all the announcements, but I heard everybody giving notes. I heard everybody saying, let's do like this, can we do it like that? And everyone just fell in line. I think that was beautiful. Oftentimes, not often, there have been times, I should say, on this stage where, maybe a few people didn't agree and they got into a little scuffle, but none of that coming out of you today. Your saxophones are something else. Why are they so pretty? And how'd you come to possess them?
Well, my favorite, I told you, my baby is the soprano. And always just loved the Selmer horn. And that particular one is the Pro Series 3. And I got it from Finland, I believe.
Okay.
But I've always loved the black lacquer on the gold. So when I got the soprano, I said I need to match it with the alto, and also have a black tenor at home.
Okay.
But I just love that look. The alto is a cannonball, and I really love the cannonball sound. So I'm still trying to get used to that mouthpiece, but
They are beautiful.
Yes,
I
thank
only
you.
ever played gold and silver horns. Nobody ever got me something quite that fancy. That's gorgeous. Tonight, we are getting to hear some original arrangements of music put together by Lucy herself. Tell me about yourself as a solo artist and as somebody who comes up with arrangements or original compositions on your own.
Well, of course, up to this point in my life, I've heard a lot of tunes, and there are so many tunes that I've loved and always wanted to play. And finding this group of musicians that can execute it, that was like 90% of it. I mean, I sat home and said, what would this sound like if I put this bass line with this song and, morph it together? And, it was me sitting at home doing that, but when I showed it to them, they just made it into something just phenomenal that I couldn't have done by myself. So
It's beautiful to hear. The album we referenced tonight, tell me a little bit about that.
it's the album Intermission came out in 2015, and it was a self-mission. I was in a certain age, and I said, if I need to leave something behind, and plus at that time my parents were just about to transition. I wanted to just do something that maybe they heard before they left. Well, it turned out that my mother had passed before the album even came, but when my dad passed, in his CD player, he had a copy in the player, and it just, it's resonated with me ever since.
Oh my God. That's beautiful.
awesome.
I mean, I don't know what else to say. What a remarkable moment that must have been for you to make that discovery.
Was.
Thank you for sharing that with us,
Absolutely.
Lucy. That was beautiful. Man, you've got me at a loss for words. Doesn't happen much as I run my mouth, especially with these lights and cameras. With that in mind, though, Cloud9, I think I'm ready for another set of music. Are you ready to play it?
Let's do it.
always.
All right, thank you so much, Cloud9. Those of you at home, get ready to dance.
Welcome back for part 2. Cloud9, Miss Lucy Kilpatrick, Juan Nelson on bass, and Brian Johnson on drums. We're going to start the second set with an oldie but goodie. It's called Ordinary People by John Legend. So this isn't one of my favorites, but this is one of the funkiest tunes, and I think we have a lot of fun with this. Hopefully you'll get up and dance to this one. It's called Boogie on Reggae Woman by Mr. Stevie Wonder. staying on the funk trail, we're going to take it to Mr. Herbie Hancock in a fairly new rendition of Chameleon, at least for us. So, Herbie Hancock, Chameleon. said that, I thought that was the end of the funk, but I think we have one more funky one. Two of my favorite keyboard players, Miss Lucy Kilpatrick and Mr. Stevie Wonder, did their versions of this, High Ground. So VMA family, it's been fun spending a little time with you. This is going to be our last song, and this is actually something that we just added to our song list. It's a song that I played for a couple of years, but to hear this group and my friends, my family, sort of get into this song and to play it, I'm just, I hope that you all enjoy it as much as we enjoy playing it. So once again, Cloud 9, Miss Lucy Kilpatrick, Juan Nelson on bass. I'm sorry, Miss Lucy Kilpatrick on keys, Juan Nelson on bass, Brian Johnson on drums, and I'm Keith Anderson. Thank you for having us.
Cloud 9. In 6, 7, something like that, months from now, one of y'all is going to be trying to pick out some baby names after this concert. My name's Robert. It's a good, strong name. Feel free to pick that. Thank you, folks, for this evening of more great music right here in our backyards in Richmond, Virginia. Some of y'all are someplace else other than Virginia. You need to get on a plane, gas up the car, and come and see what we've got going on down here, because it's a lot more of this. Thank you, Cloud 9. B.J. Brown, Richmond Jazz Society, you know I thank you for sending us musicians like this, and to Dominion Energy for helping me put a little cash in their pockets. To Remember Tommy Productions, thank you, fellas, for being here again to capture this exquisite program. And Chris, you know we can't do it without you up in that booth. Those of you at home who I haven't mentioned, thank you for loving with us. Thank you for listening to us, and thank you for learning from us. In Richmond, Virginia, at the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts from the Leslie Cheek Theater stage, this has been our virtual Dominion Energy Jazz Café. I'm Robert Fennard. Good night.